Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Soon, we will see the impact of Joy Boy's liberation on the Straw Hat crew, and it comes from Luffy's new transformation. So today, you're going to witness Zoro and Sanji's shock as they behold the final form of Gear 5 and what total mastery holds for the future. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Guys, the moment Luffy awakened Gear 5 at the top of Onigashima wasn't just a game changer against Kaido, it was a turning point for the narrative of One Piece, and above all, for the internal dynamics of the Straw Hats. When we talk about Zoro and Sanji's reaction to this transformation, we need to understand that they aren't just subordinates. They are the wings of the Pirate King. That means their perception of their captain's power is refined, shaped by years of guarding the back of a man who has now become a literal deity from this world's folklore. What we've seen in the manga so far gives us valuable clues about how this reality check was processed by both of them, each in their own way, reflecting their distinct personalities and their individual growth in Wano and Egghead. Zoro, as a master of focus and discipline, likely felt the change in Luffy's Haki before he even saw the physical transformation. For someone who lives by maximum effort and absolute seriousness in combat, seeing Luffy turn into a white, rubbery being who laughs in the face of death must have been, at the very least, unsettling. It's not that Zoro doubted victory, but Gear 5 challenges the logic of battle that Zoro respects. He's the swordsman who cuts steel, who deals with extreme physical pain and the gravity of life and death. Watching his captain turn the ground into a trampoline and treat the 100 Beasts' brother-in-law like a jump rope messes with Zoro's very concept of strength. In the manga, we saw Zoro focused on his own fight against King, but when he felt Luffy's rhythm coming back to life, there was a silent acknowledgement. Zoro isn't one for big speeches, but the look of someone who understands that the bar has been raised is clear. He knows that if Luffy has reached this level of freedom, then the responsibility of the wings to maintain the crew's balance and seriousness only grows. On the other hand, Sanji processes this in a much more visceral and analytical way, even if it's masked by his explosive demeanor. Sanji had just gone through a deep identity crisis in Wano, questioning whether his humanity would be sacrificed for Germa's power. Seeing Luffy awaken something that looks like the very essence of freedom and joy brings Sanji a sense of thematic relief. If Luffy can be the warrior of liberation, Sanji can feel safer being the human who protects the crew. His reaction to Gear 5 is a mix of what the hell is going on with this idiot and a deep understanding that the cooking and support he provides now have to sustain a god. The caloric and energy cost of Gear 5 is absurd, and Sanji, as the crew's emotional strategist, realizes that Luffy is burning his own life in exchange for that joy. He sees the white smoke and the eyes popping out of their sockets, not just as a funny visual gag, but as a sign that Luffy has crossed the line of what's considered human or a normal devil fruit. The interaction between the two after this event is what really sets the tone for this new era. Imagining Zoro and Sanji talking about Gear 5 behind the scenes on the ship says a lot about the future. Zoro would probably say something about Luffy getting soft or weird, but with that corner of the mouth grin of someone who knows no one in the world can stop their captain. Sanji, in turn, would complain about how much food Luffy needs to recover after using the form. But deep down, he'd be in awe of the purity of that transformation, one that doesn't carry the hatred or coldness he feared so much in his own DNA. They are the pillars that hold the crew's sanity together, while Luffy floats in a state of near creative omnipotence. Now, getting into the technical side of fully mastering Gear 5, what we saw on Egghead is just the tip of the iceberg. Right now, Luffy still seems to be controlled by Nika's personality. He laughs compulsively, loses some tactical focus in favor of spectacle and fun. Total mastery, what Zoro and Sanji will eventually witness, would be the perfect fusion between Luffy's iron will, his advanced conqueror's Haki, and the fruit's chaotic nature. Imagine a form where Luffy isn't just reacting to the world with humor, but shaping reality around him with surgical precision. If today he instinctively turns the environment into rubber, full mastery would allow him to alter the physical properties of objects on an almost molecular level while maintaining seriousness when needed. Zoro and Sanji play a crucial role in this transition. For Luffy to master Gear 5, he needs an anchor. In many mythologies, divine beings need human bonds so they don't lose themselves in their own esoteric nature. In the context of One Piece, Zoro and Sanji are that anchor. While Luffy becomes the sun that illuminates everyone and everything, the wings make sure he doesn't burn too brightly or get lost in the clouds of pure fantasy. Fully mastering Gear 5 will likely reduce the negative side effects we've seen, such as premature aging and extreme exhaustion after the fights against Lucci and Kizaru. When Luffy understands that the rhythm of the heart isn't just there to make noise, but is a metronome for his Haki, we'll see a final form that is visually more stable. Think about the aesthetics. The current Gear 5 is entirely white ethereal and fluid. Full mastery could bring back elements from the previous gears, integrating the density of Gear 4 with the flexibility of Gear 5. It would be the balance between the raw power Zoro respects and the elegant agility Sanji admires. If today, Luffy looks like a 1930s cartoon character, the fully mastered final form could shift between the cartoony and the epic in milliseconds. And the reaction of the two commanders to that would be the ultimate seal that Luffy has truly become the Pirate King. They would no longer see him as a captain who constantly needs protection, but as a force of nature they have the honor of standing beside. This evolution isn't just about combat power, it's about maturity. Gear 5 is the manifestation of absolute freedom. But as any good philosopher would say, or Rayleigh himself if he were commenting on the manga right now, freedom without control is just chaos. Luffy is in the chaos phase. He's discovering that he can do anything, but he still doesn't fully understand why certain things must be done in certain ways. Zoro, with his Bushido code, and Sanji, with his etiquette and logic, are the perfect counterbalances for this learning journey. They notice the gaps in Luffy's defense when he's playing around too much in Gear 5 and internally prepare themselves to cover those blind spots until their captain reaches true mastery. What the manga shows us is that the world reacts to Luffy with fear or divine worship, but on the Sunny, the treatment remains one of companionship. That's the greatest proof of the crew's strength. Even if Luffy becomes a god who bends reality, to Zoro, he's still the idiot who gets lost on the way, ironically, and to Sanji, he's still the bottomless stomach. That sense of normalcy is what will allow Luffy to master Gear 5 without losing his essence. The final form of the Gear 5 won't just be a visual change, it will be the confirmation that Luffy can carry the full weight of the Void Century's history and still smile, not because the fruit forces him to, but because he chose to be the freest man on the seas. The idea that Gear 5 can evolve into something even more refined comes from observing how Haki interacts with Awakening. We saw Kaido notice that Luffy was coding his attacks with both Armament and Conqueror's Haki, even in that bizarre form. Full mastery would be the complete harmonization of those elements. Imagine Luffy creating complex weapons or tools out of nothing, purely through imagination, and Haki something Zoro would see as the ultimate sword and Sanji would see as the perfect utensil. The final form might not even be a new form at all, but the ability to enter and exit this Nika state at will without a dramatic transformation, while retaining divine rubber power in his base form. That leads us to reflect on Zoro and Sanji's role in the final battles. If Luffy is at this level, their opponents will also be on a global scale. They need to be ready not just to fight their own battles, but to provide the support Gear 5 needs to operate. Their reactions to seeing Luffy playing around with the Gorosei or Kizaru on Egghead show that they've already accepted that the rules have changed. There's no more room for paralyzing surprise. Now it's about adaptation. Zoro is pushing his Haki to levels that can cut whatever Luffy turns the world into, and Sanji is reaching speeds and thermal resistance that complement Joy Boy's hot, high-energy nature. So the duo's reaction to Gear 5 acts as a thermometer for the reader. If they're confident, we're confident. If they're worried about Luffy's wear and tear, we understand the danger. They are our eyes within the crew, measuring just how far Luffy is going. And what they see now is a captain who has broken the chains of reality, but who still needs his wings to fly in the right direction. Mastering Gear 5 is Luffy's final journey, and Zoro and Sanji are the navigators of that absolute power, making sure the sun's brilliance doesn't blind them, but lights the way to the One Piece. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.